interested in this issue and they would like to speak to them. So while I try to solve this, as soon as we go live on the social, we'll proceed. But okay, technology is proving. Yeah, continue, please. Please, have you removed all the robots so that by the time I'm calling names, I won't have to be calling robot names to join us in introducing themselves. We have a number of AI in our midst. I don't know why this streaming is proving crazy today. We're streaming without much issue, but please just pardon me. That's the beauty or the ugliness of technology. We've been managing it well without this prolonged kind of itch. What is happening today, and I have to allow it. Oh, beautiful. And the topic we're discussing today. Yeah, I think I'm there. Live. Beautiful. Okay, so please pardon the each. We'll now speak to introduction and we hear from Dr. Alex. And if there's any other ASUU rep here with us, please introduce yourself. Firstly from ASUU, then from Ministry of Education, and then from Ministry of Labor. And then we'll now hear from our distinguished stakeholders who are also here today. Please let us know which constituency you are joining us from. As I said, we have constituencies comprising parents. There are stakeholders who are parents here, there are stakeholders who are employers of labor. Let's know where you belong. And there are those who are students, either graduate students or undergraduate students. So please, your name, your vocation, what you do, where you are joining us from, your location, and then your constituency. Dr. Alex, over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. It's my joy to be part of this meeting. Kamu Alex is my name. Teaching and research is my job. And presently, I have the privilege of being the chairman of the Academic Staff Union of University of Ilorin. That's by implication, that is Nigeria, and of course, West Africa. Thank you very much. So I'm speaking from Nigeria, of course, from my campus, University of Ilorin. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. Is there any other ASUU personnel here, or you're just the only one? Hey, Dr. Alex, did you hear me? Are you the only ASUU official here, or the any other person, so that we can recognize you together as a group? I'm not sure. Can anybody hear me, please? I want to be sure that it's not from my side.
Yeah. No.
We can hear you, sir.
For now,
Loud and clear.
Okay.
I'm the only one online.
Oh, great. Okay, that's fine.
I'm sure that
others will join. Okay, they will introduce themselves as they join us. So we go to Ministry of Education. Please, your name, your status, your vocation, your location, and of course we know your constituency as you introduce yourself to us. Next person, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Etokunwa from Federal Ministry of Education, a Deputy Director in heading the READ campaign unit branch of the ministry. Hello?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. MM.
We can hear you.
Yes,
that's right. That's right. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm really happy to be here and looking forward to the progress of the meeting and the outcome of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other Minister of Education official here that is joining us?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melon Ketura from Federal Ministry of Education, READ campaign branch of the ministry. I am communicating from Buari, that's in FCT. I'm happy to join this initiative.
Thank you
let me seize this opportunity to commend the initiators, those that initiated this, those that organized this initiative. You have done very well. So we pray that at the end of this program, we will achieve the aim of organizing this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thanks for your kind words. We are grateful. We can only do our best. Okay, so we hear from Ministry of Labor. If we have officials of Ministry of Labor here, please, let's hear from you, please. Please pardon my cough. Ministry of Labor, Federal Ministry of Labor, do we have, I know we have confirmations, we're expecting 2 directors from the Ministry of Labor as well. I don't know if they are here with us at the moment, but if not, we'll hear from members of the other stakeholders group that are here today. Ministry of Labor, please. Going. Gone. Okay. I think we can hear from, do we have reps from the parents stakeholders group? Parent stakeholders, if you are here, please can you introduce yourself? Let's get to meet you. If you are a parent, you have a child or children, or you have your wards in any of the Nigerian university, please can we get to meet you and introduce yourself to us, your name, your vocation, and you know, where you're joining us from. Okay, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Somebody's raising a hand.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Please, can you hear me all?
Yes,
we are hearing you, please.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Olashukola Bisi, a secondary school teacher from Ibadan, also a volunteer for the LRF. And I'm glad to be here. Currently, apart from being a teacher, I'm also a parent. I have 3 children in Nigerian universities as we speak.
Wow.
3 of them in Unilorin.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, rather, Dr. Alex,
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I'm mother to your girl there, your vice president, SUG,
Oh,
who facilitated
okay.
my coming.
Oh, thank you very
My
much.
two girls are there with you, sir.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you
I'm so
very much.
glad you did us the honor. May God
We
continue
will,
to honor.
we will soon be collecting royalty from you since you have 4 good girls here.
Yes, sir. I've also had graduates of that school too.
Wow, fantastic. It is still better by far university. Thank you, man.
We thank God. I looking forward to a robust discussion today.
Yes,
Oh, no problem.
Do we have any other person from the parents' constituency that is here with us today? Okay, I think with that, we'll just go and I'll be calling the names as they appear on my screen, and then, just introduce yourself, tell us your vocation, what you do, where you are joining us from, and then should be fine. So the next person I'll be calling is Hyacinth Egwaba. Please, let's get to meet you, please. Hyacinth Egwaba. You're muted. You're muted.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm very, very happy to be among this selected meeting. My name is Mr. Hyacinth Egwaba from Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment.
Okay.
And my job schedule mostly there, I'm a data processing officer, also maintenance engineering, in charge of ICT unit in Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. I can see that this meeting is a welcome development, basically for the nation of our youth. And I'm very happy to be among this meeting. And I pray that God Almighty should help us in everything we are going to discuss on this meeting. We shall get a good result at the end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Engineer Egwaba from Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment.
Yes,
the next person I'll be calling is Mary. Mary, over to you. Then we call Philip Adeyeye, Priska Onye, in that order. Mary, Philip Adeyeye, and Priska Onye. Please, let's get to meet you, please. If Mary is not able to talk, let's hear from Philip Adeyeye. Then we take Priska, please. Please go ahead so that we can save time. We have a lot of us that we're going to meet.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Mary, and I'm joining in from Lagos. I'm the LRF administrator, and you're welcome to join us at this discussion today.
Thank you, Mary. Next, I think we will listen to Philip Adeyeye. We can't hear you. You want to, maybe, can you adjust where you are? We can see you, but we can't hear you. I don't know if it's, I'm not sure any of us can hear you. Please, is that you disconnect your audio and connect back, and then you can speak. We can't hear you at all, so we'll move to Priska.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Priska Onyewokore. I'm joining you from Italy. I'm a Roman Catholic nun. So I've been with this group for an internship program. So thanks for being here, and I appreciate your efforts. God bless you.
Thank you, Priska, for joining us from Italy. I think that is from the Vatican City that you're joining us from. Next person will be Pauline. I don't know if Philip can talk now. Philip, want to hire us? Let's see if we can hear you clearly now. Or we'll proceed and hear the next person. I think it's still the same. You can barely hear what you're saying. Okay, so we hear from Alimat Adewumi and Aisha Abubiade in that order. Alimat Adewumi and Aisha Abubiade, please, let's hear from you. Alimat is not able to talk. Aisha, can we hear from you, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Aisha Yade, a 300 level student of civil engineering, University of Ibadan.
Okay. Thank you, Aisha. That is assuming that you are joining us from Ibadan.
Yes, sir. I'm joining from Ibadan, University of Ibadan.
I mean, you're around. Roslyn, can we hear from you, please? Roslyn, followed by Amos Akande.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm Roslyn James. I'm joining from Abuja and an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you, Roslyn, for joining us from Abuja. And as an entrepreneur, we believe you are representing the private sector, because these are the people that will absorb our graduates as they come out from school. Amos, let's hear from you, please.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I am Amos Akande, a public servant joining from Abuja, FCT. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amos, FCT, public sector, Abuja. I think the next person will also be calling is Lawal Hamed, followed by Oyebanke Ililaboye. Lawal Ahmed, please, and then Oyebanke Ililaboye. If I was not able to talk, can we hear from Oyebanke, please? And then Ogunye Oladimeji goes next.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Ililaboye Banke. I'm a trained nutritionist and a soon-to-be dietitian. And my present location is Ibadan, Oyo State. It's good to be here.
Thank you, Oyebanke from Ibadan, a student. Ogunye Oladimeji is next. Then we'll hear from Jelilat Rahman.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. My name is Oladimeji Ogunye. I work at the Central Office of Research, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. So, of course, I'm joining from Ile-Ife. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oladimeji, joining us from Ile-Ife, a researcher in the academic sector. And it's nice to also have this kind of diverse rep from different parts of the country. The next person is Jelilat Rahman. After that, we hear from Muyolua. I can't see the full name displayed. Muyolua Ogunleye. Jelilat Rahman or Muyolua Ogunleye.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Raman Jelilat. I'm a 300 level student of Human Nutrition and Dietetics, University of Ibadan. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much. That is joining us from Ibadan, I believe. So the next we'll be hearing from is Muyolua, followed by Alima Abdulaziz. And then after that, Esther Yoboye.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Moyolu Ogunleye from University of Ibadan.
Okay. That's a student from Ibadan. So we seem to have a lot of students from, in our midst tonight, and most of them from Ibadan, which is actually also because they are actually stakeholders. Students are the most hit by ASUU strike or interruptions in our academic calendar. So I'm glad we have quite a lot of them in our midst this evening. Next, we'll be hearing from Halima Abdulaziz.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Halima Abdulaziz. I'm an intern at the 2024 Writers Cohort, a mother, a parent, and an MSc student at the University of Lagos.
Okay. Thank you very much, Halima Abdulaziz from Lagos, a mother, who potentially definitely have a say in terms of education calendar and interruptions. And thanks for joining us this evening from Lagos. The next person will be Ayoboye Esther, followed by F. Ziba Adegoke, I believe.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ayoboye Esther. I'm a registered dietitian and a data analyst. I'm joining in from Ibadan.
Okay. Thank you, Esther, for joining us from Ibadan, a dietitian and data analyst. And now they say that data is the next gold. So we have a gold refiner in our midst. F. Ziba, can we meet you, please?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I studied English education at ADME College of Education, Ondo, and I'm a graduate. Yes, I served and I am currently seeking employment.
Okay, that is a product of our tertiary education system from Academic College of Education, Ondo, who is presently in the labor market. Thanks for joining us. Where are you joining us from?
No, I'm in Lagos at the moment. I'm in Lagos.
Is in Lagos. Thank you very much for that. The next person we'll be hearing from is Linus Barry Tagang, followed by Sally Josh.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tagang is Barry. I'm joining in from Jos. I'm an editor with the University of Jos Printing Press. I believe we're going to have a great session together this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linus, joining us from Jos, I believe. Since you work in Jos, we assume that you're also joining us from Jos at the moment. So it's nice to have you with us. Sally Josh, over to you. Then next is Chioma Eneje. Sally Josh, if I call you one twice and you don't, I will just have to skip because we have many people to recognize and can't afford to keep waiting for one person. Sally Josh, gone. Next person we'll hear from is Chioma Eneje, followed by Islamia Nasir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Okay. My name is Chioma Eneje. I am a lawyer currently serving in Maiduguri Ministry of Justice.
Wow. So we have a lawyer in our midst, a fresh product from the Nigerian University System, who is currently undergoing NYSC, National Youth Service Corps, in Maiduguri, Borno State. Thanks for joining us from Borno, Maiduguri, Chioma. The next person is Islamia Nasir. Islamia Nasir, I think after
Good
that,
evening.
Shola Debele.
Good evening. My name is Islamia Nasir. I'm a mom. I'm currently at Kwara State, Ilorin. I'm a fashion entrepreneur and a trained data analyst.
Thank you, Islamia, entrepreneur, fashion designer, and data enthusiast, joining us from Ilorin, in Kwara State. Next person is Sholale Bile. Please, can we meet you? Then followed by Blessing Bitrus.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Sholale Bile. I'm a civil servant. I'm joining from Obale Akure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sholale Bile, civil servant, joining us from Obale Akure in Ondo State, Southwest Nigeria. Thank you for joining us from Akure, Sholale Bile, civil servant. That's from the public sector. Next person is Blessing Bitrus. Blessing Bitrus, please, let's meet you.
Good evening.
Yes.
My name is
Your network is a bit Blessing, we are struggling to hear your network. To hear you, I think that's due to network interference with your audio. So maybe when you fix that, Blessing, Nadira, you have your voice now. Can we quickly hear from you, Nadira Okegbenro?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Okay, I think between Nadira.
Can you hear me now?
We are having a bit of. Yes, we can. Just
all right.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nadira Okegbenro, a graduate of English education from the University of Ibadan. Currently, I teach English language in Lagos State.
Okay, Nadira, Lagos State, from the University of Ibadan and the Nigerian Tertiary education system, joining us today. Blessing, if you can talk now, you have the mic. Otherwise, we call.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Blessing Bitrus from Jos. I'm being invited by Linus Tagangbari.
Thank you, Blessing. By Linus Barry, joining us from Jos. The next person we're calling is Shitu. Minor.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
My name is Shitu Marina, a graduate of health education from the University of Ilorin. I am currently serving at the University of Ilorin.
Thank you very much. Graduate who is also currently undergoing a National Youth Service Corps. The next person is Lamidi Fosia, followed by Oladele Benga.
Good evening, everyone. This is Fauzia Lamidi, a 200 level student of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. Thank you.
Thank you, Fosia, joining us from Akure, currently an undergraduate. Oladele Benga, you are next, followed by Adegoke Rodia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Oluwagbemiga Oladile. I recently graduated from FUTA, Federal University of Technology, Akure, studied and environmental engineering. I'm currently in data space, so I'm looking.
We are having some interruption from there. I don't know if it's from your side or from one of the other participants. So thanks for, where are you joining us from, Benga?
Nakure.
Nakure, okay. That's a young graduate, and I can speak to his journey because there's my ward in Utah, and so I can speak to ASUU Pains as far as Oladele Benga is concerned, because my younger brother that I sponsored through school, having to spend how many years for a 5-year course, so I can speak to his academic journey, even though I still have a couple of them still in Nigerian universities. This one just graduated, and thankful to God that, okay, at least he's out of the danger of what may come if there's another interruption. corruption in the education system. Next person we'll be calling after Oladele Benga is Rodia Adigoke, then followed by Christina Pepu. Rodia Adigoke, Christina Pepu. Okay, can we hear from Olushade Adediran? Okay, Christina, you're able to talk now. Please, let's hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Christiana Pepple. I studied English, language, and literature at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. Presently, I'm in Bonny Island, Rivers State, Nigeria, and I lecture at the Federal Polytechnic of Oil and Gas, Bonny Island. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, lecturer, joining us from Bonny Island, Rivers State. That's where there's so much concentration of money, I think, in Rivers State or in Nigeria generally. Just talking, by the way. Thanks for joining us from Rivers State, for also helping us to diversify our audience reach this evening. Joining from Rivers State, Christina. Olushade Adediran, can we hear from you? Followed by, I don't know if Sally Josh is able to talk now before we call it a day, and then we proceed to our session for tonight.
Sorry. Why did you say the question was again? I'm sorry, I wasn't something. I got carried away. What was the question, sir?
Right. We're not really asking questions. We're just getting to know you. Want to know your name, which we already seen, except you're using a different ID. Your name, your status or your vocation, your location where you're joining us from. I think that's all. Okay. Can we hear now from you? Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we haven't heard you introduce yourself yet.
Okay, my name is Olushade Adediran Dorcas. I'm in Ibadan. I'm working as a content writer in a company. And I'm in IBS. My status is like what kind of status is that? If I'm working or senior?
You already told us really what you do, so I think we'll make do with that.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And they're obviously joining us from Ibadan, so it's nice to hear from you. Final chance to Sally Josh, if you can speak now. Rodia Adegoke, if you can speak now. Lawal Hamed, if you can speak now. I'm calling those people that we skipped because they couldn't talk then before we proceed to our discussion for tonight.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Lawal Hamed Abiodun by name.
Okay.
And are you with me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Very well with you.
Yes, I'm an alumni of Ladu Kankala University of Technology, and I'm a assistant product designer and as well a painter. I reside in Ibadan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Wow, very much from Ibadan, designer, obviously a stakeholder to the Nigerian tertiary education system. Rodia, we really like to hear from you. Thanks for helping us to bring Dr. Alex tonight. You can talk, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Otherwise, we'll proceed. Okay, I think maybe Rodia is not able to speak at the moment. As I said, this dialogue, this exercise we are having tonight is a very structured dialogue. It's structured civic engagement. Everything we're going to do is scripted. And, Toyose and I, my co-facilitator and learners from the Clinton School, will be guiding the session together. my voice is getting a bit faint again, so I think she would help us to do some talking at some point, even though she's essentially here to do the note taking. Please, okay, I think we have put on less talking. So there's a structured and there's an element of order to it. And we start first by looking at the ground rules. There are certain ground rules that actually bind what we're going to be discussing today. And we'll read that shortly. So preferably we'll call Dr. Alex to read the first one for us, the first ground rule, followed by officials from Ministry of Education, and then Engineer from labor, from the parent stakeholders, that's Ajia Olashupo Olabisi from. So I will share my screen now so that we can see the ground rules. Please, can we help us to mute whoever is talking that is not supposed to be talking so that we can minimize the interference? And we are being streamed live, so I actually urge us, let's be of a good tech behavior, because they'll be seeing whoever is talking out of order or out of sync. I mean, when people are watching us from all over the world. So please, let's also be mindful of that. Let's try their ethics that guide whatever we do. And there are also ethics for being this kind of engagement. So these are the ground rules. I said there are just 5 of them, or 6. So we'll call Dr. Alex to help us to read the first one, then followed by officials from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Labor, then from the parents community. Dr. Alex, over to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a privilege. The first rule here is focus on the options and action we can take nationally in our communities. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Minister of Education, please, can we have you help us to read the next 2 ones, 1 person each?
The second rule is consider all options fairly.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next person for Minister of Education.
The third ground rules, listening is just as important as speaking.
Thank you very much for that. And then Engineer I sent from the Labor Ministry. Engineer I sent, are you here with us? Engineer I sent, are you? We can see you. We can see you, but
Good evening, sir.
Can you read now?
Yes, evening, I can hear you, sir.
Please help us to read the next ground rule. Those are the rules that are guiding our discussion tonight.
Yes, I think what I'm... Okay, sir.
Here, the one I'm highlighting here.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Please help us to read the ground rules, because we just need to be sure that everybody knows the rules that are guiding our discussion tonight.
Yes, sir. I think one of the major things we need to know is the commitment. Commitment is very... Hello, sir.
I sent. We are actually still
not
started the discussion yet.
Okay.
We are reading the ground rules, and we are on ground rule number 4. And I'm highlighting what you're supposed to read for us here. I don't know if you are looking at your screen.
Okay. Okay, yes, I can see it. Yes, okay, I'm saying that. Yes, sir. I'm coming. Just a minute. Yeah. He said no one or two individuals should dominate.
Thank you very much. Then we have somebody from the parent, I think Ajia, from the parent community of stakeholders. Please, can you help us to read the next rule?
Yes. Maintain an open and respectful atmosphere.
Thank you very much. And do we have anybody from the private sector? I think we have a couple of them. Roslyn or maybe Christiana.
The last one is everyone is encouraged to participate.
Thank you very much. Please, if you agree with these rules, can you just indicate by raising up your hand? You can use the thumbs up. Because that gives me the opportunity to, if anybody is going away from our rules, to be able to say, oh, we have these rules that we have agreed are going to guide our discussion tonight. So let's not deviate from the rules. I'm also dropping these rules in the chat box for us all to be able to see, so that know what the rules are. So I'm dropping that now to everyone so that we can see these are the ground rules that are guiding our discussion tonight. Thank you very much for agreeing to abide by these rules. As I said, this is a very structured dialogue. There are elements that we have to follow. And just like I said earlier when I was doing the briefing session for those that joined us, is developed by the structure we are using is developed by what is called the National Issues Forum with the United States of America. And you know, just like any nation in the world, America has its own brand of issues, many issues, maybe even much more than we think that we are dealing with in Nigeria. But the beauty of their system, and why you see maybe many of us still flocking to go there and maybe get lost in the system, is because they address the issues. They have issues, they address these issues. National issues, state issues, even local issues. And they even have this institute that is set up to explore what are the issues, what are the things that are aggravating the citizens, that are aggravating people in their country, and they come to a round table to discuss them. But we, Nigeria, what we do mostly with our own issues, we joke about them. Nigerians have this very fantastic, this great sense of humor. We turn everything to joke, and that's one of the unique things about us. We have this knack for turning, if no matter how unpleasant the situation is, we can make a joke out of everything. But that doesn't solve the problem. We don't come to the table to discuss those issues. So rather in our own private, in a private corner, or maybe in some forums that we have, we just criticize, lament, whine, but we don't come forward to discuss our issues. And that is one of the things that we are trying to address with NRF, to discuss what are the issues that we're having in this country and what can be done about it. Fantastically, Nigeria marked another year of no ASUU strike last year. But the question that I want us all to consider is that the fact that there was no ASUU strike last year, does that mean that the issues that ASUU was always going on strike about has been resolved? Was that, maybe Dr. Alex will help us to actually clarify that. Does that mean that those issues, those nagging issues have been resolved, or ASUU itself is feeling blackmailed that, okay, if they go for another strike, they will look like there's a Yoruba, whatever that is. Are you the only one? Must it be you all the time? That kind of thing. Or what has changed? Why is there no ASUU strike last year? And Will there be ASUU strike this year? Are there tools that are being observed or that have been broken? And those are the things we need to look at. But we are not even going to do much talking about the political aspect of it. We are just looking at the creative solutions, what we can do as citizens, as stakeholders to address this issue. And, I've been trained to handle this kind of dialogue, handle a bit of them in the US here, where we look at national issues, even affecting them in the US. So, and I feel this thing, I'm learning them here, helping to actually even improve the American society. I should be able to do the same thing in my own country. And that's why we are bringing some of these issues back to Nigeria and seeing what can we do to also address our own pertinent issues in Nigeria towards having a better country for every one of us. And I'm glad that, okay, Tuyos is also joining in. Tuyos also has been trained by the faculty at Clinton School who are drilling us in handling this kind of national issues. And I'm very glad that he's joining me to facilitate this session tonight. So we are going to be reading the issue guide. The issue guide usually looks like this. So each of us, please, you will be required to read a paragraph. At some point, you will need to stop. Please, a paragraph each, then we'll stop at some point and then we'll discuss our experiences and our insight. If we have any insight, if we have any experience with what we are discussing with the issue guide, please feel free to actually discuss them. So I don't know if any of you can see my screen now. Toyosi or maybe Mary. Mary, please, can you help us to list the names of all the participants in the chat box so that we can just, everybody, you just check your name and then you just read when it's your turn. If it's your turn to read, please paragraph by paragraph, don't go beyond the paragraph. Once you are done with the paragraph, let the next person read. We'll read the introduction and we'll stop directly here. We'll stop here, then the next person will also, then we'll discuss a bit, and then the next person will also read. I don't know if Mary is there to help us to list the names of everybody, but I will call, obviously, from Dr. Alex to help us read here to the first paragraph, and then from Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor. Please, over to you, Dr. Alex.
Thank you very much. I presume I'm reading the first paragraph.
Yes, sir.
Nigerian universities have faced industrial actions since the years of the military government. The Academic Staff Union of University, ASUU, was established in 1978. That's correct. Since then, it has regularly gone on strike. Some hope was held that the introduction of civilian government would turn things around. But ASUU went on strike almost every year from 2001 to 2013. In the 24 years since 1999, the body has gone on strike in 17 of them for a combined period of 4 years and 8 months.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
From Ministry of Education, ma'am, let's hear from you, please. The next paragraph.
Let me of the video and screenshot this drive.
I'll make it wider. I don't think I can see all the.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay. From Ministry of Education.
No,
the second.
From the key factor. From here.
Yeah, from the key factor behind ASUU strike is revenue, with Nigerian considerably underfunded.
Sorry, ma'am. Nigeria's education sector.
Okay, I can't see end. I
Oh,
don't
so
know how
sorry about
to.
that. Maybe somebody who can, maybe we'll move to somebody who
Expand,
can,
yeah,
yes.
to the
Sorry
end.
about that.
Okay. The key factor behind ASUU strike is revenue. With the Nigerian, what's the end there?
Educational sector.
Considerably on, yeah.
Underfunded.
Something has come in, lock it again.
Sorry, I guess maybe yes, maybe
Okay. For below the recommended 15 to 25 to 20% for budgetary allocation to education. Okay, somebody, I don't know how to make it a full screen here.
It's actually full screen.
It's not like
now.
you knew you have it and then you were trying to lower your voice. So you're not allowed.
Okay, ma'am. Can somebody else should just help us to read that so that we can move faster? Do we have
the key factor behind ASUU strike is revenue.
Thank you, sir.
With Nigeria's educational sector considerably underfunded, far below the recommended 15 to 20% benchmark for budgetary allocation to education. In fact, at 8 to 10%, Nigeria has one of the lowest percentages of budgetary allocation to education, even among other African countries.
Thank you very much. Somebody else can help us to read the next paragraph.
System down to in the Nigerian higher education system with the academic often extend longer and the youth
I think we need somebody else to read that. We can't hear you, please. Somebody else can read it, please. Somebody's reading.
The
persistent down tools are hurting the Nigerian higher educational system, with the academic calendar often extending years longer, and the youth losing a significant proportion of their productive years waiting to conclude their programs.
Thank you very much. Next person.
In a dwindling economy, Nigerian, please remove the highlight, please.
Okay.
In a dwindling economy, Nigerians are concerned about the impact of strikes, insufficient government funding, and continuous increase in costs that are taking university education beyond the reach of the youth.
Thank you. Another person from this issue.
This issue guide is designed to guide the Literary Renaissance Foundation's civic engagement discussion on the question, how can we have an improved and uninterrupted tertiary education system and support our youth in the face of persistent strikes and a declining economy?
Thank you very much. So we proceed now to sharing our thoughts about this. Does anybody have anything to say to this opening introduction that we just read? Do you have any experience? Do you have any insight? Do you have any information, anything you want to share with us concerning this introduction that we just discussed?
Can I make comments, sir?
Yes, sir. Right.
Thank you very much. Obviously, I'm an interested party by the fact that we are discussing ASUU, and as the sitting chairperson of ASUU University of Ilorin, I should be able to make. Let me first commend the initiator of this program.
The meeting is a national dialogue.
By extension, I am commending the fact that the guide put up here, it's almost accurate. That shows that the writer is keenly following activities of ASUU. You know, when I got to 1970, I said correct. And then it is, however, not totally correct to say that ASUU go on strike almost every year. Luckily enough, you said in 2023, ASUU did not go on strike. By the way, you remember that Unilorin was not part of ASUU for about 18 years. Wow. And got integrated in 2019. I have the privilege of serving as secretary of ASUU, acting secretary, at those periods in the history of ASUU. The report you have captured in the second paragraph is also correct about the fact that the key factor is underfunding. Some few years back, you can say that that was a in the education sector by ASUU some years. That became a popular slogan in education. And today that has not changed. The last time the takeover of academic staff was reviewed was in 2009. That is 12 years back now. But beyond that, I need to correct this impression that ASUU is not about strike. I should not be so labeled as strike. If there's any difficult time for ASUU member, is whenever you have strike in place. The leadership of ASUU find it very tight to prosecute strike. As a matter of fact, there are procedures laid down to execute strike in the constitution of ASUU. A branch of ASUU cannot declare strike except you have gone to zonal meeting and you go to NEC. NEC will send visitation panel to consider whether what you are demanding for is legitimate or correct. The same procedure before ASUU declares strike. But in these 70 years that you have mentioned, it will look big, and the media war from this is that 2022, if you recall, the strike we refer to that was possibly the longest in the history, had a 2-week warning strike that was declared first in Lagos. After that 2 weeks, that 2 weeks was extended by another 2 weeks, and that strike began February 14, Valentine's Day. And it's on purpose. There is no time that ASUU declare a warning strike that government will respond. They don't even think of responding. And so if we say we should think outside box, people who have said I should take on another method, these people have also failed to tell us the method that will work in the Nigerian system other than strike. People say, tell us another method. Which other method has Nigerian government responded to beyond ASUU, to even to NSC, even to doctors? It's only this country that people will say, if doctors want to let them resign, all of them travel abroad. It's going to lead to total collapse. ASUU is not about strike. As a matter of fact, ASUU don't want strike as much as possible. That's my comment about the first two paragraphs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex, for that insight and letting us to validate some of the information that actually come from research materials that we also consulted. And thank you for actually even giving us this context. Okay, ASUU doesn't really want strike. Is perhaps because of the way maybe the government have been engaging ASUU. The attitude they've turned towards ASUU and other unions' demands. You rightly mentioned NMA also. Because you see, even doctors, resident doctors, always going on strike from time to time, and those are disasters. When ASUU is on strike, it's disasters to many careers in terms of those in the academic sectors, the children that we are going in schools. When the medical doctors go on strike, it's disastrous to the lives of people. So it's not about ASUU, it's about what is the disposition of the government to those demands that these unions are making. I don't know if there's somebody from Ministry of Education that would like to respond to that, or if Engineer Isaac from Labor Ministry would like to also speak to that, please. Yes, you are unmuted, Engineer Isaac. You want to talk? You want to share anything with us?
Hello, good evening, sir.
There's so much you are. I'm afraid I will have to mute you Let's hear from others, please. Once you're able to sort your background noise, please, you can talk. Any other person talking from Ministry of Education, responding to this, or if we have any other member of the audience, from the stakeholders that would like to also discuss this issue. What do you think about this opening paragraph, what we have discussed here? I mean, what we just read here is, I saw Dr. MM raising her hand earlier. I don't know if you have something to say. If not, is anybody willing to share anything with us concerning what we just read? Otherwise, we proceed to the other parts of the discussion. And maybe as soon as Engineer Isen is able to sort his audio, then he can have his say. Okay. I mean, then we move to the next reading, and this dialogue is we are proposing 3 options, and we are not even looking more towards government side now, because we like to look at what are the actions that we can take as stakeholders that we can control within our own domain. That is what we are looking at. We are not trying to look, oh, government is not doing this, government is not doing that. So what are the creative solutions we can deploy? That is what we are trying to discuss this evening. And so we start with the first policy option or creative solution. Somebody who has not read before can take from this option 1, please read the first paragraph and stop here.
Nigeria believes that.
Please, can you read the heading first before you start reading the
option 1? Emphasize more responsible leadership. Nigerians believe that administrators in our country, including universities and political office holders, are proved to be too unreliable, unaccountable, and out of touch with the concerns of citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person, read from this paragraph and stop on this next page.
Okay, so for instance, how universities have managed and do manage government allocations and internally generated revenue do not often get publicized for accountability. At the government level, we usually have to deal with the malice of a round peg in a square hole, with people appointed to sensitive positions that they have little knowledge about or competence to deliver. The children of top government officials go to study and graduate abroad while the children of the common man languish in academic system punctuated by persistent strikes.
Thank you. Next person, please.
This option holds that more stringent regulations should be enforced on those in public office to ensure transparency, accountability, and responsibility among office holders in universities and governments.
Okay, thank you very much. And then somebody else to read and stop here. Or this person can just read to this here and just, conclude that the rights.
But this may create increased tensions, while some may feel that it interferes with their rights.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to be considering some of the policy actions that were proposed. So when you are reading from here, you read the action that are being proposed, and then you also read the potential drawbacks for this action. If you say we want to do this, when you read this, you also read this. So we have expressing bid. You can just read, continue from the reading, and read the action and the drawbacks, please. Then followed by the next person, and then the next person.
Require universities to publicly publish annual financial and state of the university reports. Drawback. This may lead to increased tensions between ASUU and the government and create a new form of problem in an already problematic situation.
Thank you very much. Next person.
Government should appoint only academics to ministerial and other critical positions related to education. Dishonest and corruption may still end up being occupied such positions. Administrators are, there's something there I cannot see.
Oh, sorry.
While effective
administrators are,
oh, sorry.
the pictures covered.
Okay, I hope you can see it now. It's a bit.
Okay. Dishonest and corrupt is still covered.
I think it's.
Wow. It's not.
Okay, I take it from there.
Okay.
I take it from there. I can see that dishonest and corrupt academics may still end up being appointed to occupy such positions, while effective administrators are the franchise because they are non-academic.
Thank you. Somebody else.
The action.
Yes.
Universities should establish systems that ensure checks and balances in the financial management of their respective institutions. Such systems needs to be circumvented by powerful individuals and vested interests while maintaining an appearance of being functional.
Next person, please.
Citizens should pressure their representatives to pass legislation banning any elected officials from sending their children or wealth to universities abroad. Politicians and public office holders might feel that this infringes on their right to send their children to universities wherever they choose.
Okay, we've looked at this option, which is speaking to how we even manage the allocation that we currently have sent to the tertiary education systems. So what else can be done to ensure that more responsible leadership or management of the resources? We know that is meager. This amount is not meeting the international standards, but at least what is being allocated. So we are speaking to how it is managed, how it is being administered. What do you think can be done in addition to ensure we have more responsible leadership at the helms of affairs in our education sector and across the tertiary institutions? And what could be the drawbacks to those options if we decide to adopt them? Please, anybody willing to add to this or to speak to this? So it's now for us to discuss what are the actions and what are the drawbacks. We can also engage any of these. Is any of all these things, are we even in tune with the realities? Are we speaking the mind of the people, or we are just, talking from a silo, not understanding? So please, over to you. Anybody have any insight to share with us? Any experience to share with us? Any thoughts on this to share with us? Please, you have the floor.
Sorry, I would just like to add that when we're thinking about our options and actions, we should look at what is positive about this, what do we like about it, and the drawback is saying that even though we like this option, it has a repercussion, that is the drawback. So are you like comfortable with this drawback to say, okay, I don't mind if there's a little corruption as long as there's an academic person who can make decisions? Did we get that?
Sorry, Toyosi was giving some additional guidance for us. Did we hear what she just said now? Because it's supposed to help us to be able to engage this discussion in a more robust manner. So you want to repeat
Yes,
yourself?
we did. Yes.
Can I repeat myself?
Yeah, please. So that
it was clear.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Thank
brilliant.
you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. So please, let's discuss this. These actions, and what do we think about them? Do we think they are doable, or what are the drawbacks? And are they positive? Are they negative? Would this solve the problem, or would this further aggravate the issue? Thoughts, please.
Okay, can I talk?
Please go ahead. If you don't introduce yourself to us, just let us know your name, where you are.
Once again, Olashupo Olabisi, a secondary school teacher in Ibadan, and a mother. As I said earlier, I currently have 3 girls in the University of Ilorin and 1 boy here in Ibadan. Also, I've had 2 graduates, one from Ilorin and the other from Lautech. I would like to speak directly to the actions and drawbacks drawn here. The first action says require universities to publicly publish annual financial and state of the university reports. And the drawback is giving us, this may lead to increased tensions between ASUU and the government and create a new form of problem. I beg to disagree with that drawback, though maybe to a little degree, but I think even now, this is what is panning out right now, because the current session being run, I think it was said that the presidency had given university autonomy to run and generate their revenue, to run the schools themselves. And the immediate effect was the hike in school fees of a federal institution, which as a parent, I can say I had to bear that brunt. I had to feel it immediately. Though luckily for me, Unilorin happens to be, even with the hike, Unilorin still happens to be the poor masses haven. Because right now I can gladly say the increment was not that too high with Unilorin compared with the other universities. And when that decision of the federal government was pronounced and being executed, though initially we parents, we raised eyebrows, but considering the trend of events and the age we are in now, we quickly had to adjust to that, because what we wanted, what we had always wanted, was for our wards, and it's still for our wards to go in there, complete their education in record time, and get settled in record time. As Africans, our pride is to see our children through quality education and becoming somebody, and of course, we are expecting returns as Africans. That's one thing about us. So I think with this development, if universities are made to generate revenue and state their financial standings annually, the whole process becomes transparent, and everybody is rest assured that there is enough funding for this. So if there is any problem, then ASUU or the government, ASUU now, once the government is off it and having their hands off, if there is any problem, parents and ASUU and students will see to it that this is where the problem is actually coming from. Everything will be made public, and the problem, I believe, will be ameliorated. So I think that's number one action and drawback. I think I've spoken to that. And the action is in line. I think it will go a long way to yield a positive result and ease the rate of ASUU strike in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jelilat, you raised your hand. We'll hear from Jelilat and then we'll hear from Dr. Alex. Jelilat Kaman, over to you.
Good evening. Yeah,
please go ahead. Go ahead, Jelilat.
Okay, so I just feel can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, this is Nigeria, and then I feel it is not possible to like have a situation that has a positive side and not a negative side. She gets like no matter what, anything that has a positive side will have a negative side. So I feel if we are to just focus on the drawbacks of all these actions, at the end of the day, we might not be able to prefer solutions to the issue on ground. So I just feel we should just look for a way to like reduce and minimize the risk as much as possible. So that's my thought.
Thank you very much, Shadilat. For every solution, there will always be drawback. That's actually, it's not even a Nigerian thing, it's a universal thing. Maybe the drawback may not really be what we should be looking at as in terms of drawback, but there's always a drawback to every solution. If you give something, you are losing something in return. I mean, that's the way life works generally. So thanks for helping us to actually look at that again. Dr. Alex, please, you have the mic. Let's hear from you, sir.
Thank you, program. I've been listening to robust contribution. But let me make this clear about the actions and the drawback. I will speak clearly to 1, 3, and 4, because that seems to give some flash for me. We need to, first of all, trust the system for internal efficiency. Though we blame government, but also even as academics, also look inward to be sure that what we do will make our system stabilized, and also to ensure that our students, when they leave the system, they can look back and say, I've been treated well while I was schooling here. That is important for us to understand. I agree with you in principle that there should be a legislation, and that boils down on having trust in the system. And that is what the public should understand about this idea of proliferations of institutions that we have in Nigeria. The idea is to kill public institutions. And once that publications are killed, you and I may not even have the privilege of going to these private universities. Recently, a publication came out on social media saying state with highest number of private universities. A particular state is having 8 private universities. If you go to this private university, you discover that it is the federal university in that domain that will supply academics there. So you must be thinking of the quality. So if we do not streamline the provision of institutions, and we do not restrict our guys at the top, as people will say, sending their words abroad, there won't be trust for this system. This system will collapse. And the reaction before the last one says, universities should generate fund. I just want to humbly disagree, because universities are not commercial centers. They are to generate ideas, not to generate fund. The moment we start encouraging government to allow our public institutions to generate fund, you wonder how our university turned to bread-making, pure water-making institutions. Almost all universities have pure water branded. They have bread branded. That was not the original idea of a university. Universities are laboratory for ideas to solve problems. If we ask them to start generating funds, it is your child, it is my child that will pay that bill. And government that is looking for a way to tax everything now. We already have government authorization in place. Everything is taxed now. And by the time we say universities also should be generating funds, the implication is that the government will completely shift their responsibility. Don't forget, when they say that subsidy gone, we all clapped. Without structure in place to maintain the going of the subsidy, by the time they come and say full autonomy, autonomy by implication does not mean the government will remove its hand. What we should be looking at is public partnership, public-private partnership. In institutions abroad, there are offices created for endowment. When many institutions endow, they bring money to the university. Not that we will ask university to start generating funds. We will turn all our offices to shops. And then ideas will not be created. It will be worse than what we currently have. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. Does anybody have any response to that, or anybody agree, disagrees with that, with the question of Dr. Alex?
Sorry, like honestly, I will sincerely want to go with what Dr. Alex just said.
And then
yes, I'm Tagala Yunus Barry. Actually, since I work in the university system, well, the source of I tend to see that the focus of us is actually turning into building up money for multipurpose cooperatives, getting into, just as you just said, you see ASUU bread, you see ASUU pure water, you get, because this is because in almost all of their struggles, I think the government is not sensitive to the education system. Honestly, if we sincerely want to agree with this policy of let all children of the politicians school here, I think we'll get serious with that. I don't know. I know that third fund is playing its own part, but at the same time, that's why I want to blame the government. We also blame the system as well, because sometimes third fund will release funds for starting, and you find out that the people in the university system will still siphon all of this. So, in as much as we're checking all this up, like there are a lot of positivities and then there are a lot of negativities. But sincerely, going by like let the children of politicians school here, I will agree on that, because I've suffered in the hands of ASUU. But still, I will always want to go with the plight of ASUU. Sincerely, thank you.
Okay, thank you. But don't you think that they will feel, if you're saying politicians and public office holders should be forced to let their children school in Nigeria, won't that be infringing on their rights? Because that's also like a drop. There's also a drop back to that. Would I feel, because there's freedom of choice, I should be able to send my children wherever I want them to school? Not because, please go ahead.
Yes, the honest thing is that if you check it honest, you find that it is the funds collected from the masses that these people used to send their children to these highly expensive institutions abroad, and then they go finish, come back, they take up the job that we stayed here to struggle to add many years to school for. You get that's always the issue. I've seen scenarios whereby when we were serving, I was also someone with appointment letter with ITF while we were still serving. You get, and I know where this person is coming from. So these are some of the realities, sir. Sincerely, I don't think it's infringement of rights. Because
you speak with so much passion, Linus, but I'm not sure, maybe it's everyone that will agree with you that the money taken from the masses is what politicians and maybe public office holders are using to send their children to school. That may be refuted, but we have to also draw the balance in terms of what I can feel your passion, I can feel your pain because this is a very sensitive issue. We have the quality of life of our people, the education being truncated due to these incessant industrial actions, and they could have been better handled if we are very sincere, from the government's perspective and maybe from even investor perspectives. So thank you for that. Oladimeji, please, you have the mic. Let's hear from you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And thank you to everyone who have been contributing since this started. Of course, I'm learning. I'm taking notes. However, I just want to chip in that one of the things from my experience interfering with both government and people within the university, I wouldn't want to talk about the administration of the country. I would want to talk more about the administration within the universities. And I think we have less people who are system-minded. And that is, I'm following up on what one of the earlier speakers said. So when you are system-minded, everything you're doing will fall back on the system. So when they said that universities should establish systems that ensure proper checks and balances in the financial management of their respective institutions, for me, I think we could have it. The setback is there, the drawback is there, but I think it is one of the things that would really help. So I see universities as mini countries. So I engage with OAU, for instance, as if it's a miniature of Nigeria. And then I see the complex systems through which money is, sent, most of the internal problems that OAU have had, for instance, had to do with money. They say, oh, someone stole money, someone didn't disburse money at the right time, someone didn't do this and do that. But then if there is some measure of transparency, and then if these checks and balance systems are made clear, there is full disclosure. One of the challenges we face, for instance, is if you want a grant and you want to access that grant, you go through a lot of stress to access it through the university. So if some of these issues are, handled, and then there is proper checks and balances within the university, TED Fund will not come up tomorrow and say, oh, when professors in the universities win grants, they just use it to marry new wives, and buy cars and build houses. Either we agree or not, these are news that also cast, aspersions on the reputation of academics before the public's eye. So this is something that I think I support that option very well. And then they say such systems may still be circumvented by powerful individuals. But then let's start. When we get to the point where we have powerful individuals, we will face them again. And then, because it's like has been noted, there is no pros without cons. But then let's see how much we can strengthen our pros and reduce our cons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dimeji, for that very brilliant of the action point 3. Does any other person have something to share with us on this? Either of the actions? Okay, Alima, please, you have the mic. Let's hear from you. Toyosi, I hope you are prepared for us. Toyosi has been letting us to take notes.
I will share my notes. We'll make sure we're
let's hear from Alima, and then we hear from Toyosi. Alima, please.
All right, sir. Yeah, all right, sir. Thank you for giving me the floor. I love all the actions that I see and the drawbacks and everything, but I think something is missing. As part of the stakeholders, students should also form part of, should have a strategic role to play. Because in terms of trust, ASUU has always found it difficult to convince the public why they engage in the things they engage in. So by actively involving students, sometimes some of these issues can be addressed properly. That's my take.
Thank you very much, Alima, because you're just speaking to, are there other things that we could have added? And you have given us this very brilliant option that, yes, we can be talking about ASUU government in isolation of students, because they are also critical stakeholders in this our education system. And if you even look at the population of people here today, we see that there are more students in our dialogue today than even there are academics, than there are parents, or there are government officials. And that's because they are actually the primary stakeholders. So whatever happens at the ASUU front from the government side usually have this bearing on the students. So students should also have a say in what is done, either from the government level or from the university level. Thank you for that contribution, Alima. Can any other person have anything to say before we listen to Toyosi, who will be sharing her notes with us based on our discussion so far, before we now go to the next options that we have to discuss. Any other person? Please, I will stop my own screen sharing so that you can share yours. And thank you very much, Toyosi.
Okay. Thank you everyone for your contribution. Can everyone see my screen?
Can you make it a little bigger? I can see, but because some of us may not, so can just increase the size at the base of your Word document.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's getting bigger, it's getting bolder. Yeah, great. I think we can, you may do with this really, since you'll be speaking to this.
Yes, thank you very much. So based on our discussions, I was able to pick out the issue, the key values that resonate with everyone in their various explanation. And there is the value about transparency and accountability. And I think this draws to the very first point of having that openness about your financial expenditure and your ability to generate internal fund. This is said to like increase the IK intuition, but it just makes sense that universities are also able to internally generate fund and cushion the burden of the government from that angle. But then there's also that aspect of government neglect that I put as a value. And this stems from the idea that, okay, if you're asking schools to generate fund, it means that the government is just going to serially withdraw themselves from funding this institution, which is their role. It's not like you want a school that's supposed to impart knowledge to now worry about raising funds like it is a business. It's supposed to be like a social service and basic amenity that is provided by the government. And what was advocated is that there should be a strategic partnership between those both parties. That's what we should look for. And I had a conversation about everything being a two-sided coin. Of course, there will always be drawbacks to whatever we are picking today, but effort can be made to ensure that these drawbacks are minimal and like they're not very restrictive on any choice that we make, which will lead to their efficiency. And there's also the issue on legislation being right in terms of checks and balance and controlling the way that education is addressed. And this means that if there is proper legislation, then there is regulation of private institution or restricting public officer to say, oh, if you do it right in your country, then your children should be able to go to school in the country as well. So I got that. I also got the fact that the check and balance needs some form of transparency to ensure its effective implementation. And lastly, there's conversation around including student, and I put there as a value to mean inclusion, student inclusion will enhance the credibility of any of these policies that we're making, because it means that these are part of your stakeholders and you're hearing from everyone that is affected. And I also got that we are okay with having increased, not everybody, but I got that we're okay with having the increased tension when it comes to accountability. Is better than the lack of accountability on both parties. The tension is okay, but it will solve the issue of accountability. And then everyone seems to be okay with, okay, let public officers' children also school in the country. I also took note of the fact that the only trade-off we're not willing to accept is corrupt leadership in any of these situations. So if there's anything I missed out, please let me know.
Thank you very much for this very brilliant capturing of what we've discussed so far, Toyosi. Does anybody have anything to say? Is there anything that Toyosi missed that we think we said that was not captured, or anything that we said that is not what we meant? Please, let's quickly share our mind and before we move to the next option. Anyone, please? Okay, so that is assuming that
someone dropped a comment in the chat box, sir.
Those of us who are, can you read it out? Those of us who are sharing screen, we can't see comments. So please, Mary, you can read the comments for us.
Okay, this is from N. Christopher.
Okay.
No, bid to everyone. He said, yes, it's in the interest of everyone that managements are held accountable. I'm not how incongruous, or I'm not sure how that's incongruous.
Okay.
Yeah. Then to that reply, I think, okay, let me start from the top. N. Christopher said there's some incongruity in the first point showed on the screen. The left point is managerial. Essentially, it is not ASUU that controls spending. Therefore, it is in the interest of ASUU that management is held accountable.
Okay, we need to go to that option.
Okay, I would really love for Christopher to explain his point, particularly what action are you proposing?
So if we can hear from N. Christopher, please let's know you, what you do, and where you are joining us from. If you've not introduced yourself before, and then please you can speak to the actions of
I think network knocked him out.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. But okay. Unfortunately, we can't get this very brilliant insight from N. Christopher. Okay, Dr. Alex, I even have a question I want to ask you, but please, you can say what you want to say, and then I'll ask the question.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to speak again.
Yes, sir.
You see, the point made by Christopher, yes. I think we always need to contextualize issue. It looks managerial, but the fact remains that if you look at the trajectory of our institution, funds that have been drawn to institutions that we now say it's being managed by management were largely drawn to university by ASUU struggle. If you say, of course, ASUU is not the one involved in spending, the question you ask is that can you separate ASUU from the management? If you look at the management team of the school, of the university, maybe one or two will not be a member of ASUU in the long run. Maybe Bossa. Maybe Liberia is a member, is an academic staff who will have gone through the rudiment to become that too. So the fact remains that ASUU is also killing in holding people accountable. So the issue of accountability is still a matter for ASUU to take up. We can't go on and fight the government and say bring forward, and our colleagues also will not manage that one correctly. That's why I said internal efficiency is important. However, permit me to make this comment about the second point about the action, where you say government should appoint only academic to ministerial and critical positions related to education. Most times we are carried away with this thing. We say we are all intellectuals. We are all intellectuals. No, intellectual is not about article writing. There are a number of people who are not writing articles but are sound intellectuals. Intellectual does not confer on you academics. There are people who are on the roadside who are intellectuals. But people conclude, we are all body of intellectuals. No, writing a number of articles does not make you an intellectual. Now, intellectualism confer on you activism if you are on the side of fairness, equal access, and justice. So anybody that is a Nigerian that is trustworthy, that is just, that allow equity and fairness can head any of the ministerial appointment. Academics have held education ministry in the past, and there was no result. You have seen academics headed. Fashola wasn't. I'm sorry to mention. The former minister of works was never an academic. He performed excellently well in works, and some other people like that. So it is not about this direct approval. Otherwise, we will have boxed ourselves to a corner and end up having people that will have been quoted as intellectual academics who will end up messing up. That is why you will never see ASUU say people should go in the name of ASUU to INEC. You go there to participate in your NICAP job on your own, not as ASUU member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. Does anybody have any question, any response to that? I have a question for you, Dr. Alex. You know, when you were talking about universities being asked to generate their own revenue, and that would turn them into, make them to do what they are not statutorily set up to do. And you mentioned something that virtually every university will now start talking of producing their own bread, their own pure water and all that. Don't you think that is actually an indictment on our education system, that what we'll be talking of producing as our intellectual products to generate revenue would be menial stuff like basic stuff like bread, like water? Shouldn't be capable of much more high intellectual products, research stuff that universities should be able to generate that will fetch them huge money, even in foreign currency, rather than basics as water and bread? What do you think, concerning that, Dr. Alex?
Thank you very much. That was the point I was making, that we started losing focus when we begin to see those things as major breakthrough. There was a particular MDA that came out and said they developed machine for making kuli, when the rest of the world have gone beyond that. The rest of the world has gone beyond that. As a matter of fact, we are even suffocating those who are supposed to be in that business ordinarily in town, bread and water. And we should be talking about patenting.
Yeah.
If our government cannot trust us on solutions, on apps, by now our academics should be celebrating, okay, this university has developed app to tackle insecurity that the Nigerian security can adopt. Okay, with this development, you can deploy this app, and anywhere you find yourself is a security gadget. That will be internal idea we are celebrating. That will be patented, not bread, not water. If people are going to the point of block making industry, that is not what universities are created for. It's a loss of focus. How many of our universities rose up to the challenge during COVID? Intellectually, technologically? We shut down our universities. When universities are abroad, there is no university in any session that will not embark on ICT projects. Have you ever saw ICT projects at universities? We run universities that are without internet. We run universities that cannot even deliver lecture on LMX. And there is funding. Don't forget. These are issues.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So we shouldn't just even box our university. They should. I don't think it's government stuff, really. I think maybe that should be on the university system itself.
Yes, it's university. It's a university problem.
Yes.
Every university abroad, they are known for one thing.
Yeah.
We should list out the university in Nigeria and say, this university of so. What, you know what Harvard and some other universities are known for? These are universities that train leaders. That if we say you are graduating from this school, this is what this university does. Universities in Nigeria should be known for something, breakthrough. This, when you are talking about the world-class economists, go to this university. Yeah. When you are talking about the world-class lawyers, this university we won't try with their product. We just try to run programs that are not streamlined, are not focused, and then the people just come and drop that are obsolete on their land, on their students, and then you turn out these students with the same old notes 2-3 years later. They are just saying, repeat what I taught you in class in exam.
Okay, we have a long way to go then. Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. Now we'll proceed to the next option, solution, and then this is a bit moving away from the university system, even though while still addressing the problem. So please, somebody who has not read before, it's time to also start to read. Please, somebody should help us take from option 2 and stop at here, and then another person takes the next paragraph and on till we get to the end of the policy options. Please, somebody else.
As a society,
please, can you
okay, option 2.
Yes, thank you.
Option 2, help youth choose more options. As a society, we have come to believe that university education is the only available path. Yet, many Nigerians have become successful individuals without the opportunity to further their studies at a university.
Thank you. Next person.
With a strong and effective primary and secondary education, some of our youth can go on to pursue other paths, such as vocational schools and learning a trade. In the long run, this can prove more economically sound, as such people can become employers and job creators rather than frustrated job seekers. Moreover, there are many short and medium-term courses with more benefits in the job market than attending university.
Thank you. Next person, please.
This option holds that we should reduce our dependence on universities and as citizens encourage our children and youth to explore other paths that might prove beneficial in both the short and long term.
Thank you very much. Now somebody else from Air.
This one.
Or any of the previous readers, if there's nobody willing to. Please, can you start again?
But the majority of our youth may end up lacking larger awareness of the world that a university education can provide, and this could have serious implications for our country's scientific, technological, and cultural advancements. May also be outpaced by other countries and invest significantly in education.
Thank you very much. Now, let's consider the actions and the drawbacks for each when we are discussing this policy initiative. So somebody help us to read both the action and the drawback. 1, another person, 2, 3, and 4, like that. Please, who's reading for us?
The private sector. I'll be reading, Shade. The private sector can emphasize focus on university degrees and publicize rules positions that require only short and medium training to fill. To the drawback, such jobs may only employ low to middle skilled workers for stipends and thus restrict upward mobility. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, the next action point.
Parents can encourage their children to explore various vocational options that are creative. The drawbacks. Some children who have the talent to flourish in academic fields may be prevented from attending university.
Thank you. Next person.
Communities and organizations can create media campaigns to promote skill learning platforms and the opportunities they provide. Drawbacks. Fake platforms with nothing to offer might seize the opportunity to defraud youths and teach them nothing.
Thank you. Next person.
The government has strengthened primary and secondary education and encourage the growth of vocational schools. This may encourage neglect and hasten the deterioration of our universities.
Thank you very much. So what are other actions that can be done around this second policy, and what could be the drawback for each of these?
Someone from the a representative from the Federal Ministry of Education dropped a message in the chat box.
Can you read that for us? I can see.
She said she said the main motive of the ASUU union was to protect the interests of both the lecturers and the students. But in recent investigations of the running of the union has caused more harm than good. In over 20 years, the union has not been able to reach the set goals and vision, but yet causing more spillovers and backlogs for the students. This is from the representative of the Federal Ministry of Education, Itokunwa.
Okay, please, can you, I believe Dr. Alex may have something to say to that before we hear somebody else. Does it mean that ASUU is not fulfilling the mandate that it was set up to do? Is ASUU the problem, or ASUU is actually part of the solution?
Thank you very much, sir. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I want to thank Dr. MM for this revealing position. Unfortunately, the public is yet to understand the rule of ASUU. And that's why we can have this kind of a comment. What if incidentally LRM has done some documentary about the creation of ASUU and the rest. Why ASUU was created was the session university and out and structure to pursue other than to be just in workplace. The coming on board of ASUU was to create a society where all of us will have equal access to that education. The question is that if ASUU focuses only on its member welfare and refuses to talk about revitalization and proper funding, it is still going to be the same problem. If we focus only on our salary and our welfare, and we are not talking about government funding the university, the children of the masses will not have the access to that education. So ASUU is not causing more spillover and backlogs of students. Consequences of neglect of the system is what is causing that. A spillover student, you have also defined it now. For a person to be a spillover student, that student must have failed prerequisite courses now. Is it ASUU that is making that to become spillover student? Is it strike? The same student category where you have spillover student, the same student are celebrating 180, 178 first class. So if you categorize some people to be spillover students, why is the spillover not part of the first class graduated? It is not ASUU that makes spillover students. It is not ASUU that make backlog. There are strikes. Yes, we are not disputing that. But people are still graduating. After the strike of 2022, there are so many convocation ceremonies in recent time. The one is ongoing at the University of Abeokuta. Number of first class, you just the union did. So what we are talking about is that we should understand what ASUU has been, the focus of ASUU. ASUU had issue with government team years back, who was suggesting that we start charging students, medical students about 1 million plus. Are we not going there gradually now? The students are paying a exorbitant fee. So if we neglect, ASUU neglect, what will become of ASUU or our students will be what became of that of Nigerian Railway. Our primary school, you know what they turned out to. ASUU is rather defending the interests of the masses. And we should get it right. If ASUU, if there is no union that is still telling government what to do, all of us will be victim of that neglect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex, for that, your comment, because I think Dr. Alex has just responded that ASUU is not the problem. ASUU is actually part of the solution. And I don't know if anybody has that, anything to say in response to that from among us in the stakeholders, maybe from Ministry of Labor or somebody else from Ministry of Education. Please, you have the floor. Anyone, please? Or okay, now let's talk to our options, to the actions and the drawbacks. Does anybody have something to say to this set of actions and the corresponding drawbacks as a way of resolving this problem? This is now saying, let's de-emphasize this, our focus, our attention on, it must be university education, it must be polytechnic. Let's look at vocational education. Christopher Saliu, please, let's hear from you what you have to say.
Okay, Christopher Saliu, and I am in Abuja currently. I'm speaking from Abuja, and I think I have, during my professional diploma in education, I had an experience with, I majored under university education, and during the course, I discovered that the aim of education is being defeated, like university education, because we tend to go to school. At the end of the day, our courses becomes either irrelevant in the labor market, and then you tend to look NUC as still approving universities upon universities. And sometimes I used to question and ask myself that after approving all these courses and universities, so where would these people work? And sometimes I model using the US pattern, since they try to derive some of their initiatives there. And I discovered that most of the patterns they follow from US and on UK, they have university colleges and universities, which means the degrees varies too. And so bringing about the issue of vocational education in the society for youth, I think it's more relevant. And aside being relevant, but again, despite its relevancy, some people have used social media to defraud some youth. And I can attest to that because I started some course on project management, and I took a very heinous task of learning through the courses. But then I asked myself, how can I use this? At that instance, it was very useless to me because there was no practicality, and I don't think the certificates can be accepted. So some universities can start doing all these courses themselves, so that we know that it is very authentic and it will be beneficial to both the youth, and some people will not have to struggle through 4 years suffering to go to university and at the end of the day become unemployed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher, because you've actually spoken to some of these actions that, yes, let's look at what is obtainable in Western countries. It's not all about universities. There are other educational centers or systems that can be used. But as far as our own domain is concerned, we don't even seem to respect those institutions who believe it has to be university, it has to be polytechnic for you to be acceptable in the labor force in Nigeria. But it's not always the case. And then for those who are even doing these vocational studies, some of them are fraudulent. So where do we go from here? Thank you for that. Nadirat, you have something to share with us based on these policy actions and the drawbacks.
I'm and I'm in Lagos currently. So I'd like to say that I think what I've noticed about Nigerian education system is the fact that there is hype on education certificate and like university certificates. Even we in the university tend to look at the people in the polytechnic and the likes as people that are, lower in probably something like intellect or something intellectual. Yes. Then when we come out to realize that you've gone through the university and you've not actually gained something that has to do with the practical part of what you've learned, we deal so much with the physical part and come practicalize. Then when you look at the people from the technical part, okay, they get it, they can work with their hands, they may not be so into the theory. So there's this thing they do in the university that we call the general studies. You realize you're in the arts, keep doing from the science department, you take different courses throughout the 4 or 5 years you're using school. Then we come vocational. Instead of giving us different things to do, general studies, once you have something like, okay, you have a practical thing like a vocational training you can take from the first year you got into the university, you get trained in that particular thing alongside your studies throughout the 4 or 5 years we use in school. Because you see, okay, you're a university graduate, you're out there, and then you come back out to meet the stats to learn one trade or other. So it really doesn't speak. I don't know if it is the way I see it, other people see, but I feel like there should be something that we can gain from the practice. We invest something we can learn through the year. That okay, aside having the a certificate, this particular course, there is still something else I can present myself with out there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Nadira, for that contribution. Does any other person have something else to share in response to what Nadira, Christopher, even Dr. Alex have said, or maybe one of our Ministry of Education officials, or you have something entirely new that you'd like to add to this conversation? Any other person, please?
Yeah, me, please.
Okay.
I'll
Me,
just...
Can we know who me is? And yes. Please go ahead, let's know you, and then you can go ahead with your comment, your name, and then before you talk.
My name is Islamia. I would just like to talk based on my own experience.
Thank you.
I've always thought, okay, not always, but recently I just started to think that there's something very wrong with our educational sector. Because as at when I was in SS3, I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to go to university because, you know, that's what everybody is doing, and I'll be stigmatized, looked down on if I don't go. So even while I was preparing for JAMB, I didn't know what course to input, but because it has to be medicine or law or those things, I chose medicine just because, you know, that's what the cool people do. And I don't know, I can't even stand the people in pain. I can't even stand the sight of blood. I'm just thinking maybe if we had been exposed to orientation then, to just let us know that it's not only medicine or law that are the good courses in quotes. Everybody has their own special area of interest, you know, that they would genuinely want to do good at so that they can, you know, impact the society with that. I feel like it should have been better. Like, I'm always thinking, why are there no even fashion entrepreneur courses in the university? And why is it that when people do zoology, people always look down on them? Oh, do you want to work in the zoo? I don't know. It's just, I feel like people just go to university because of other people, not because of themselves. It's either you're trying to please your parents because they feel like some other people's, I don't know. I just feel like we need more OT orientation, so to say. People should really be able to maybe not choose course at the beginning of the university, be exposed to different fields of interest. So before they finish, maybe find one that they are particularly interested in, and you'll go for that. And we should really stop looking down on other courses, even education in Unilearning. As long as you have that green tag, you're looked at somehow. Maybe somebody is studying law, will be like, this one is education. Even yourself, you'll not be happy to say you're in education. Some people keep their tag in their pockets so that they will not know that they're in education. And I just feel like we just need to change our orientation concerning that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Islamia. You have given us a very fundamental issue that one of the issues that are even wrong with our education system. This bandwagon mentality, okay, and you know, because of our perception too, we just feel okay. There are some courses that okay stands in a good stead. Either you mean engineering, law, medicine, all those so-called high-profile professions, but there are so much more because human discipline, human endeavors are so diverse that It has to be until you are a medical doctor, until you are an engineer, you are a lawyer. That's when, okay, you can maybe do well for yourself in life. And that also could be one of the issues that we are having in terms of our education system. So we are talking, about the need for us to have more options. Thank you for that. Any other person willing to speak to this? Police, I'm seeing some marks on our. Any other person, please? Any other person willing to speak to this policy options? Before we go to the third and final policy options, then we hear from Toyosi once again. I'm seeing this mark on the screen. Suspecting. I hope we are not compromised. Is there any, please, chat box? Is there any comment there that we should attend to before we proceed to reading the third and final policy option for us to consider tonight? And then we hear from you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, please. Let's know you and then.
Okay, my name is Olushade. Olushade Adedun.
Thank you, Olushade.
My own interest is concern because it's actually getting gradually to a point where we don't even know what a university stands for anymore. Why? Because we are now in this dilemma of, should we even go to school? Should we even, since we have a network, we have data, and we have YouTube, we can actually sit in the corner of our room and learn whatever we want to learn, because just have data and the whole world is just in your room. You're just watching, you can just watch, you can just stay there 24. That's why people stay indoors. Not because it's so difficult, because it has been made easier by technologies, by those things out there that can use resources that can use just to make life easier for yourself. And it's now looking as if you're not even educated, if you're not schooled, if you're not an elite, you can even still make it out. You can still even be richer than somebody who went to school. And it is very, very true. Very, very true. You see somebody out there and the person will tell you, so are you as rich as I am? Do you have the money I have in my account? And truly, you can at that point look at yourself and say, oh, you're right, but you try to just argue because you argue and just leave, because you can't argue for long, because you lose. So I just want that prestige to come back to school. We want to, because people just see you that our first class holders, what are they doing now? And it's true too. And even people that have first class in school, you can see them riding keke, marua, you can see them doing this not so good jobs out there. And it's very true. Very, very true. So we want to just oppose what happened in those days to what is happening now. We had a very solid standard level of schooling. They had it then, but now just like it's been belittled, it's been ridiculed. Nobody sees it as something worthwhile or worth doing. But and it's because the what's it called now? The level at which we are running the education system, the level at which it's been handled is just too poor, and people are now seeing as, okay, it's not even worth doing. We can just overlook schooling, can just overlook it and not do it and not even go to school at all. But what can we now do to make it something that it's compulsory and people must pass through? Because if we cannot overlook education. I love education. I was told education is good, and I say that is good. But now I'm not the same person, still thinking, why did I even go? I think if I did not even go, I think I would have still achieved what I've achieved. Something like that. But what can we do to make it, education is education and it's real and you must go through it. And people that are hearing so must be able to testify, must be able to stand and say, oh yes, I'm grateful I passed through this education. I'm grateful I am educated. Because right now, if you are educated, you are not even noticed. It's a problem. It's a big problem. So that's a big concern for somebody like me and some other people out there. That we need help in this country, and we just hope help comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olushade, for that very detailed one. I think I consider Nadirat is also raising a hand. We'll listen to Nadirat and then we'll proceed so that we can round off the session for tonight. Nadira, you have the floor. Once you're done, we'll read the third action, and then from there we'll proceed to other things that we need to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for the second chance. In addition to what Olushade discussed, I just feel like I don't want us to actually put the whole blame on government on what education has become, because you see companies actually paying emphasis on the fact that they want the first class, But I don't want to mention a particular school, but I feel like you can't compare some first class from some particular schools to first class in other schools. So some first class out there now, what exactly are they offering? Like, how did they get there? What were they put through and all to get to that stage? And how do we compare them to other people that have 2-1, 2-2 from other schools? So these people, they just feel like, okay, one first class and all. And I think for some courses that have been approved by JAMB or is it ASUU, I don't know where to put that one particularly. Not to say something about a particular course, but I know zoology, botany is something that there are like courses that are very famous and all, and people do it. I had a friend that applied for, let's say, medicine at the University of Ibadan, and then she was given zoology. Okay, she came to love the course. She was like the best graduating students in her department. But for this girl to actually thrive, she had to go outside the country. She's in Canada now. She's really doing well. So I was just wondering, if this girl had stayed back in Nigeria, what would have been her prospect? Like, how is the job environment really doing people that are taking these particular courses and some that are like that? Because sometimes you ask somebody, what is your course? And then they say, you're like, oh, I've not heard that one before. What do you actually do? Then they begin to explain. So there are some courses that we know, okay, in Nigeria, it's easy to get this, it's easy to get that. But there are some that I don't really know why they are being approved in Nigeria. Not that they are bad courses, but what is exactly the prospect for us if we consider our own economy here? So that's just.
Thank you very much for that, Nadira. You've actually touched a very sensitive call in terms of the way our system runs. Some of them, I mean, I believe some of our courses may even be either they are outdated or they are not in touch with current realities. And just like you just mentioned, there's a way we look down, and that is also in alignment with what somebody had mentioned earlier. There's a way we look down some of these courses, be it education, zoology, and botany, and just I mean, that's the human natures, human endeavors are so diverse, just like I mentioned earlier. And we don't seem to value such until maybe people, practitioners, graduates from those disciplines find themselves abroad. And they are now being paid what they are worth. But where they're coming from, they don't really have appreciation. And that is one of the things that is affecting our education system. Dr. Alex, you have an insight to add to that. Please, you have the floor, sir. And if there's anybody from any of the ministries that want to say anything, please, you have the floor before we go to the next and final policy action.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to yield the floor again to me. Let me just start by way of encouraging the last two speakers not to lose hope in the Nigerian education system. It could be frustrating when you hear those comments. Someone said, you see, what is the essence of going to the university? You had the first class, they are riding keke and the rest. The fact that they are riding keke is not a basis to justify not being educated. It's a question of enabling environment, which we believe that one day will come. Perception is all that we also need about what we do, and we must get it right. But I agree totally with the last speaker and with a little modification. As a country, we have run with old curriculum for too long. That is why we are talking about relevancy of our program. We are due to design our curriculum. We are long overdue to design our curriculum. Your first degree is supposed to create for you anywhere you find yourself. A computer expert. So it is not about the first degree only. First degree create the entry point, provide enabling environment for you to now grow and develop yourself. Personal development, apart from going through this curriculum, is critical also. So, but I agree that our university is time to design our curriculum. We must talk about the modern day reality. Relevancy of our program is important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. Yes, because this has been an issue that we always having to. Okay, Engineer Isent, you have something to say in response, because I want us to just move on to the next policy action. But we hear from any of the ministry officials or the main stakeholders we are having a session with tonight. So Engineer Isent, over to you very quickly. Let's hear from you. Okay, I think we'll just proceed. If we can't hear from Engineer Einstein at the moment, is from the Ministry of Labor. The third policy options. So we'll continue our reading once again. Somebody can help us to read from option 3 and then stop here and on like that.
Option 3, provide economic support. An increase in tuition costs has been considered and already partially implemented in most universities. Many Nigerians struggle to afford these increased fees.
Thank you. Next person.
Student loans have been proposed, but the application is still unclear, and already a large number of people have doubts and fears about the entire lending system. Increased hardship in the country has also indicated to citizens that the educational system cannot improve without a revitalization of the economy.
Okay, the last paragraph. This option holds that economic support should be provided to students in the form of loans, scholarships, and part-time jobs. We should also redirect funds from departments where they are wasted to other places where they might be a relief to citizens.
Yes, thank you. And then,
but loans may prove a burden in the long term, and not everyone may secure scholarships or part-time.
Thank you. Now let's read. Before we read the action and the drawback, please note that this issue guide can be downloaded from our website. I believe Mary has dropped the link in the chat box for us. For those of us who are also part of the LRF community, it's been shared there. So just download this issue guide so that you can have them to read. And then we also still share this the YouTube link for this event. It's being streamed on our Facebook page, so you can always go to our Facebook page and watch it again, or you can also watch on our YouTube channel as soon as we are done. So please, let's, for those who want to have this guide, want to read it on your own, please, you access it by downloading from that link that we just shared with you, either in the chat box or in our WhatsApp community for LRF. Okay, so please, next person, please read the policy action and the drawback. Please read it for us. Action and drawback. Anybody can read it so that we can save time.
Provide accessible student loans to help low-income Nigerians acquire a university education. The drawback: these loans might prove to be a burden and unpayable in the long term.
Thank you. Next person.
Citizens fund non-priority bodies, the huge welfare packages of executive officials.
Sorry, can you take it again? We can really hear what you read. Your network is not so friendly.
Yeah, you from here, please.
Somebody else.
Can I read?
So far, you are clear.
Citizens should pressure their representatives to defund non-priority government bodies and cut the huge welfare packages of executive and legislature officials to channel the funds into needed areas. While a step towards reducing economic inequality, these measures may not provide an adequate means of funding universities.
Thank you. Next person. The next policy option on the drawback. Who's reading for us next?
Groups and organizations can be...
Go on.
Groups and organizations can be incentivized to provide more scholarships for promising students. Some students who could use support may not get the help they need.
Thank you. Next person.
Communities, non-profits, and student bodies could create social services to help connect students to jobs they can do to support their parents in paying their tuition. Drawbacks: these jobs might not be available for every student, and some might not earn enough to make a significant difference.
Thank you very much. What else do you think can be done in terms of this policy option, or what drawback? Or if you have any insight, want to contribute to these options or the drawbacks, please, you have the floor. Once we are done, we just use 5 minutes to discuss that, and then we'll listen to Toyosi to give us an overview of and 3. Anybody, please, you have the floor now for discussion as we bring this session to a close. Anyone willing to discuss this policy?
There's a message in the chat box, and I believe Dr. Alex would have been in a position to answer this. And it's from yeah. Hello, can I continue? It's from the representative from the Ministry of Labor and Employment. He said, why is it that ASUU sees strike as the way forward to handle issues concerning education? He now went on to say, I think ASUU needs to have another option to do with education matters.
Okay, I think we don't even need Dr. Alex to respond to that. The truth is that Dr. Alex already mentioned that the strike industrial action seems to be the most effective. And that's at the beginning of this dialogue, because I know he mentioned that no local chapter of ASUU can actually even declare a strike. There are a series of meetings that will have been done and with approvals granted at the maybe local chapter, the zonal chapter, before any ASUU union can declare a strike. But and even before they even now go on a full-scale strike, he mentioned that those are actually even news to me, really, that there will have been a warning strike, maybe at times 2 weeks, at times 4 weeks, and that usually do not elicit the kind of reaction or response from our respective governments, which will now escalate into a full-blown strike that will at times last for 9 months, 6 months. And so that is, I think that's what he had said. That was even looking more like an information to me. But I also experienced a strike around in school. And it was not always a rosy experience for students, or even for our parents. And I've now been a guardian to have wards also in school. I know what it's like when your wards, in school, and you can't even see this when they're going to graduate from school, and then you still continue spending and all that. So that is, I don't think Dr. Alex needs to actually respond to that because he has already mentioned it while at the beginning of this.
Thank you very much.
Except you have
no,
something
you captured it correctly. In fact, I'm just excited the way you have captured it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Do we have anybody speaking to this policy option so that we can proceed? Let's talk in terms, okay, how do we even make it easier on the students and then the parents this time around? So in terms of, this is now funding, loans. Now I know Nigeria has introduced an issue of student loans, even though that is still being discussed and people are still regarding it with some level of suspicion. And then what about creating jobs, student jobs that students can also do to augment their income and then actually subsidize what the parents have to pay them and all that, because we are looking at a holistic solution or approaches to solving this problem. And that is what informed this third policy option. Anybody willing to speak to this, please?
I feel like when it was written that these loans might prove to be a burden and unpayable in the long term, I think it won't be such a big problem if students actually are being trained to be marketable. They'll graduate and they would have mastery of what they've gone to study. And lecturers will stop taking pride in how many students are failing their courses, how many students are getting F, and they would actually, be more concerned by the number of students that are actually doing well in their courses. I feel like they should change their priority. There's nothing of pride in students failing your classes and then churning out, mediocre. I don't know how to complete that, but I hope you understand me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Islamia. You actually, yes, you expressed that, okay, that the loan may not be unbearable if the so-called students, if they're able to get a job and they start paying the loans. And that is what actually obtained in the Western world. Students, parents collect loans just to finance the children's education. But in Africa, we have very different perspective about these things. I was talking to my friend the other time, and he has 5 children, and 4 of them are already in university. One is just about to enter, and he had to get him, and he's a Nigerian, though he's nice, a US citizen, has 2 dual citizenship. He had to, each of the children, he had to collect loans for them. And the loan was in their name. So, he's the one that guaranteed them and all that. So as soon as they graduate from the institution, they start paying their student loans. And even in my own class, I have Americans who actually sponsor themselves through schools, through student loans. So it's not as if it's something that we think is bad to collect loan, but we Africans believe it must be my parents, it must be my uncle, it must be my auntie. No, but these are options that we can. But the problem, which is the drawback, is that after you even graduate from the school, are you sure of getting a job that you cannot be able to use to pay these loans? So that is the option, because we have so many graduates who do not have jobs. They've been graduated for how many years, and there's no job for them to do. And that will also speak to the quality of education that they have. If we are not well drilled for the workforce or the labor market, they can't be employed, because even private sector are not fools. They want somebody that will add value to the operations, not somebody that will become a problem. And there's always that saying that most Nigerian graduates are not employable. So maybe that's the issue we'll be discussing at the next dialogue about the employability of the Nigerian graduates and the youths. But let's talk to this option now. Anybody have any additional insight you want to share with us? Please feel free to talk. Richard Mama, please introduce yourself, where you are joining us from, who you are, what you do, and then you can speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, Richard Mama, I'm from a network of book clubs in Lagos. All right, I think what we have is a chicken and egg situation. We have tertiary institutions that have been set up to train personnel for the workforce, which is a good thing. But the workforce functions in an economic setting. So when you train, say, 100,000 people and send them into a workforce that can absorb only 10 or 20,000, you have a deficit. And then the next year you expand the deficit, and the next year you expand the deficit. So if we don't work at the same time on improving economic capacity to absorb the workforce, we would have this crisis of how would the student loans be paid back? How would the university system or the tertiary education system, give back the value that society is waiting for? So there's got to be improvements across the whole spectrum. Improvements in the educational sector, improvements in the student sector, and improvements in the broader economic and political space. So that's why I say it's a chicken and egg situation. You've got to deal with both the chicken and the egg so that you can have a viable system. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I mean, I think that's sort of adding a very...
That is why I think it is not...
Please, someone wants to talk? Please, go ahead. I was just about
I don't understand. I know.
Okay, please, who wants to add? Somebody wants to add to that, or respond to that, or speak to any of the issues, any of the solutions, or the drawbacks corresponding to them?
Can I please make a comment on student loans, sir?
Please.
Thank you very much, sir. Our argument is that we should not even encourage student loans, sir. It should be student grants. Okay. And this argument is clear. You go and read at the conditionality attached to even obtaining the loans. Very soon, just like you said, the Nigerians, in the beginning, you said Nigerians are funny. We turn everything to comic relief. There's nothing we cannot make jokes out of. We will soon start making jokes out of this loan, because it's either going to end up as a party affair, and the true masses that decide this law would never get it. The first condition, and then you like to sign a bond when jobs have not been created for anybody to take. Don't forget that government recently set up a committee. They said they are checking the viability of university. These are situations that we find ourselves. We, as Nigerian people, we should advocate for student grants than student loan.
But Dr. Alex, do you think
they won't
government can
be able to pay back? Then virtually nobody will end up as it is. Thank you, sir. Sir?
Thank you very much for that. Do you think, grants, how many youths do we have enrolled in universities alone? Even talking public, federal universities, talk less of state universities. Can the grant really go around all the students? And what happens to those who are not able to get? And would even that grant award process or procedure be also corrupted? Won't it, I mean, because the same issues, I mean, will still happen. Either we exploring grant option, we're exploring loan option, or we're exploring any other option. There will always be drawback. Yes, sir.
If
Please,
we talk about grants, sir, yes. If we talk about grants, that you are an indigent person does not make you scholastic. It is true. If we look at grants and that you are indigent and you truly need it, your academic performance will be basis for grant. If you are not just giving anybody loan, you are doing brilliant thing. That is why you decide. What people don't get grants to is the people who are academically committed. Loan will be given to party children who will not come to school. They just use fake names and they'll give loan to anybody. But if we talk about grants, we know that we have 5 good students in this department who are doing well, who will contribute meaningfully. So you are giving them grants. So the first class we are even producing, we are going to be producing based on grants, that these people are doing a project that will be meaningful to the nation. So you are tied down to an institution. You are tied down to a particular focus in research. Not that take 50,000, whether you go or not, is erased. It becomes a bad debt. We don't even have record. In the country where we have data problem, we have no data here. So how do we even have the data people that will get the loan?
Thank you very much for that. So it's even the modalities for even the grant that will be the decider, not I mean maybe universality of it, because it may not be universally applicable, but when the modality is very set, and that means okay, everybody has an equal opportunity of getting so far their performance
based on their brilliancy and performance, and that's what we should.
So thank you very much for that, Dr. Alex. I think that's sort of any other person willing to speak to this.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's your wife or maybe
one person, meet somebody in charge that will tamper.
I'm not sure we can hear her clearly enough, because I mean, you are closer to the mic than she is. Maybe she wants to say something to that.
I was just
she's making comments.
I was just commenting on what he said.
Please.
Where our country is today. Talking about the data or how our country can keep data. Let's say, for instance, that they give a faculty or a department 5 slots for 5 scholars coming from that department. How are we sure that if a lecturer or someone holding a position in that department will not give the slot to someone from that same department?
Exactly.
That's the beauty of academics. That's my students argue with me. And it's good. That's
exactly.
good.
So, because it could also be, the point is that there will always be a drawback for every solution that we proffer.
This is our country is a special country.
And yes, Nigeria having this very fantastic reputation for in terms of our corrupt practices. I mean, I know there will be sharp practices. Even some of these can be doctored, people long ago. And it's not just in the peculiar Nigerian situation alone. This thing happens everywhere. I mean, we have people still favoring other persons from my family, from my state, from my local government, that kind of thing. So it happens. So how we feel sure that the 5 shortlisted students are going to be the ones that really deserve them, because it's what the department reports that the grant awarders or the managers of the grant would actually recognize. So are we sure that the process is also transparent, even to the departmental level, that those who deserve those grants are those that get them? So there will always be a drawback to every solution, and that's why we have to discuss this so that we can actually come to a plausible way forward that at least most of us will agree on, that we can say, okay, this will help our education system and the running of our tertiary education institutions. Do we have any other person willing to contribute to this discussion as we bring it to a close and we listen to Toyosi, who has been diligently helping us to take the notes so that we can hear what are the summaries, what are the themes, the recurring themes in what we discussed, what are the values that we have expressed, and what matters, what can we not entertain, and what can we accommodate in terms of what we discussed this evening. Any other person willing to talk? Toyosi, over to you.
Thank you very much. I will share my screen now.
I'm sharing mine. Please, you can download the issue guide on our website. The link has been dropped. You can also watch these proceedings again. You can go to watch on our Facebook page. You can also watch on our YouTube channel. But if you're a member of the community, maybe you can also drop the link to the community for in the chat so that you can join the WhatsApp community and get to know about our next programs and initiatives so that you can be part of them.
Yeah. So I will take you back to option 2, then to get it right. So for option 2, it talks about having more opportunities and diversifying various alternative education. And I hear from a lot of us, particularly the students, resonating with all of this to say vocational skills should actually be incorporated into university as opposed to the fact that it's being looked down upon. Or I personally even have a resolution because I would have been a science student, but I can't stand blood. And I guess I just thank God for that guidance that my parents didn't have to force me. So I'm grateful for them. So I didn't go to science class and I don't have to be a doctor and, even become a mother, and these are the implications really. So there's that resonance for a lot of us young people, and there's a disconnect and need for connection between what we're studying in school and what is required in the job market. So there has to be this form of consolidation and repositioning, particularly for polytechnics, because some, as it was mentioned, that they even offer all of these technical skills, but people look down on them and say, I can't go to a polytechnic. Okay, so the solution will be universities should incorporate this. As you're schooling, you're learning a skill, especially some tech skills that are coming live now. We have a lot of organizations and platforms that say, come and learn tech skills. And there are a lot of them that are fake, right? But if university have it as like a short course that you can take and still be satisfied, it will be like an elective, and you will take it and you will still be credible when you present this certificate. There are issues also around the social norms that I already mentioned earlier. I was stated to say that some courses are deemed to be irrelevant. I also went to Unilorry, so I can understand the black tag and green tag. I had a purple tag, and so there's a whole lot of that. There's also conversation around standardizing this system and say if you go to school or you didn't go to school, technology is there to say people are now influencers, people are richer, third class are richer than first class student. And there's that question that's to say that is education really important, or we can just go to YouTube and learn everything you want. And really that speaks to the standardization of public education to be at par with all of these competitions, including private universities. From this, the trade-off is that if you have vocational skills, then it's okay for jobs to be able to employ you, even though you're a middle-skilled person. It's totally acceptable. But it will not be acceptable to have the existence of manipulative fake platforms as well as deterioration of university. It's not going to happen because you just get to do what you want to do, and there's a market for everyone. And then we went to the third options about supporting children. Supporting students, young people to get through their education. And a lot of these values stem from support, which means that these loans will actually help to ease the burden of finances, particularly people in low-income communities or people that are struggling. So this would really help. And then there was an argument to say that, okay, it shouldn't even be a loan. It should be called grant and you should earn it. Now, while you earn it, there is also need to improve the economic infrastructure of the country to say that we're not having spillover every year and there are more people struggling. People are still struggling from the past 10 years, still trying to get a job. So there needs to be that economic development as a value and as an action to be taken for people to get jobs. And a trade-off that was said is that people will not be able to pay, but it's acceptable if there is an economic structure in place as well as the marketability of student and graduate, then they'll be able to pay back this loan if it is said to be a loan. And if there is the grant aspect of it, then it should be based on academic performance. So if there's anything I missed out, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Toyosi, for that comprehensive capturing of some of the key issues that we discussed in terms of our agreements, our disagreements, what we can tolerate and what we cannot stomach. Please, does anybody have anything to add to what Toyosi has just read for us? Or if you have, okay, no, this is not, maybe we should consider this, please. You have the floor as we bring the session to a close. Anyone, please? Anyone? Okay, so that means Toyosi has perfectly and captured everything. And so thank you so much, Toyosi, for doing such a fantastic job with this note-taking. I think maybe we'll now be talking of, is there any concluding thoughts from any of us as we bring the session to an end? Please, if you have anything to say, please just indicate by raising your hand, and then you'll be recognized as we bring the session to a close with acknowledgement. Anybody willing to say anything? Anybody have a, okay, I think I saw a comment. I just checked the comment section as I was dropping the link there to the Facebook stream. You can watch this proceeding on Facebook. I will drop the link for you here. I thought, okay, Engineer Isen from Ministry of Labor actually also made a comment about the student loan. So on this student loan, after graduating from school, what if the students don't get the jobs early? What shall be the outcome of it? And you know, that I think Dr. Alex also rightly talked about that. We shouldn't be talking of student loan because our own system may not seem to favor it. It will be politicized, it may be corrupted. So let's just work with grants that work on meritocracy. But even that, from one could hear from one of Dr. Alex's students, that, okay, even are we sure even that will not be corrupted as well? So really, for every solution, there will always be some drawbacks. You just have to see what works best for us in our own context as a nation, as a people, and let's see how we make them work. And we improve on the process as we proceed along the way. Please, do we have any final thoughts from any of us as we bring the session to a close? Any final thoughts, please, from any of us in the stakeholders, be it parents, be it students, be it from ASUU, from Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Labor. Any thoughts? Okay, I want to say thank you very much to every one of us for joining us today. We are so grateful to you, Dr. Alex, for making time to be part of this session tonight. I mean, your coming has really opened our eyes to a lot of things about the operations of ASUU that we are not even privy to, and then we sort of just even help us to background some of these issues that we've been consuming as third parties, as outsiders, from an insider's perspective that you've given us. And thank you so much for that. I'm sure all of us here are living much more informed about the processes of ASUU, about the issues that ASUU is actually actually essentially vanguarding in terms of improving the education system in Nigeria. And thanks for all your contribution. I want to thank the representative from the Ministry of Education, Dr. Toyosi, we are actually partaking in that, your music. Okay. So I want to thank from Dr. MM from Ministry of Education. I think we also have another person from Ministry of Education joined us. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Engineer Isent from Ministry of Labor and Employment. Thank you to all the parents that are here today, all the guardians, and all the private sector's representatives, as well as the students who have been part of our deliberation today. We are so grateful. I'm sure we'll still be coming back to you guys. Our deliberation today will still be reported, and we'll prepare like a communique that will also be published on our website, which you can download and which you can see. These are the positions that we all came up with at the end of this discussion based on the notes that Toyosi has kindly helped us to take to Toyosi too, because as I said, I had this flu and I had to reach out to my community in Clayton School for help, and thankfully my voice did not collapse as I had feared. So, but Toyosi now also joining at very short notice. She just had like very few hours that she got to know about this, and then she actually volunteered to come and be part of it. And I'm so happy that she joined us and she's taking notes from, because something that we are both learning from this system of civic engagement, from this very structured way it's done in the US, and I think other Western world, is helping us to actually deepen our knowledge about the civic engagement so that we learn these things and we deploy them in our own country. Not just we are here just to improve the Western community, but whatever we are learning from them that are good, are working for them, we also bring them to our own local domain where we came from. And that is one of the ways we can make the difference for where we are. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has been here today, who has contributed, who has been part of this. We are so grateful. Thank you for joining us. Next, we are going to have, I think it's going to be in April, and we look forward to having you guys there. Then we'll be discussing the employability of the Nigerian graduates, and then we'll also bring people from across various sectors to come and talk to this issue. So thank you once again to everyone. Have a fantastic remainder of the evening and remainder of the weekend. Bye.